And now here at IAC conference in Miami, we're with Gabe Groisman, mayor of Bal Harbour, Florida. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
So it's nice seeing you. Let's go right into the most recent news. You're a leading activist against BDS. How do you look at what we saw with Airbnb? Is that really, it's like you actually see it happening with the statement and then also the response? How do you look at that case?
Yeah, I think there's two sides to it. The first is it should show us the seriousness of the BDS movement and the BDS activists. They're penetrating corporations, public companies that are about to go public like Airbnb, and pushing them and convincing them that by boycotting Israel or parts of Israel or taking statements against Jews is good for their corporate social responsibility policy. That's how far they've come along to be able to convince a company like Airbnb to do it. That's the bad side, the serious side that we really have to focus on. There is a good side though to it. The good side to it is it's an opportunity, because what Airbnb did is plain anti-Semitism and it violates many discrimination laws in the United States, not just the anti-BDS laws, but just plain civil rights laws around the United States. Because they took a piece of land, it's a US company who in a piece of land somewhere in the world, they're deciding to only allow people from one nationality and one religion to rent or to list their properties, and not from another, and that is plain discrimination.
What you said about the campaign of the BDS, do we know that there were actually people from the big BDS organizations that were promoting, or is this influence from an attitude, from an atmosphere?
Well, it's a mixture of both. So yes, we do know that many BDS activists were on the verge of listing Airbnb as companies who do business in Judea and Samaria, in the West Bank, quote unquote West Bank, helping further what they call the occupation. And that pressure, along with the atmosphere that they have most likely in San Francisco where they're based, they got to the conclusion, they were pushed to the conclusion that the way out of that negative press, to show how responsible they are on social issues, they delisted the 200 or so homes in that area.
So what's the best way to counter this? By what we're hearing statements from Vice President Pence, from everybody, from so many people against it, or is it actually through legislation and things like that?
All of them. The statements are very important. Airbnb is a company that's right now preparing their public offering of their stocks. So the value of their stocks, the way the investment banks are looking at the value of their stock, how it's going to be in a few months, is very important to them. And the fact that statements are coming out of governors' offices and attorneys general's offices around the country saying that they're going to look as to whether their states are going to invest their pension funds in Airbnb or refrain from investing on that, those are statements that are really going to have an effect on Airbnb to think, should we really continue with this bad decision or not? That being said, the lawsuits are very important as well. These laws are on the books for a reason. It's not often that you see corporate anti-Semitism like we're seeing from Airbnb. And really, in a way, it's an opportunity to put these laws to the test and to create precedent so other companies know not to get swayed by these BDS activists.
What kind of sanctions, what kind of penalties are we talking about? How tough can it go? So
the best case scenario is that states will decide not to invest their pension fund money into Airbnb's IPO. They can still they're allowed to boycott Israel. They're allowed to boycott whoever they want. You can't force in the United States someone not to do that. But there can be consequences to it. The consequence is the value of their company will go down, or if there's a ruling from a court that can tell them that they can't do that, right? And the court can make them. They can pull out of Israel entirely. Right? They can say we won't do anything, but what they can't do is choose between one religion and one nationality or the other.
You're here now at the conference of the Israeli-American Council, Complex Identity. How do you look at the importance of this conference?
I think it's great. The Israeli-American community really needed a place to gather and to galvanize their community. It's a very strong community. I'm blessed to be part of that community, not as an Israeli, but I feel like I've been adopted by the Israelis here in South Florida, and they're very active and they do a lot of things and support many different organizations. And it's great to see them all come together, inviting organizations from all over the world to be here to support them, and we support them.
Gabe Groisman, thank you very much.
Thank you.